Good morning. Good morning. Can you hear me? Excuse the voice here. My name is Medea Benjamin, and I'm one of the co-founders of Code Pink. And it's apropos that as we lead up tomorrow to the anniversary of the invasion of Iraq, we are here to say that those who said no to this war from the very beginning and those who continue to say no to this war are indeed the true patriots. We are the ones who are here defending the Constitution, honoring the Constitution, and urging the American people and the Congress to uphold the Constitution. Code Pink started before the war began, and one of the first things we did was take a group of courageous women to Baghdad to say to the people of Iraq that we did not believe in preemptive wars, that we did not believe in wars of aggression, and that we believed that the United States had an obligation to uphold the UN Charter. And that's why we were there to support the UN inspection teams. And we go out in the morning to where the inspectors were leaving and clap for them as they went off to say, we uphold the UN Charter, and we know that Article 6 of our Constitution says that all treaties are the law of the land, meaning the UN Charter is the law of the land. So from the very beginning, we were there as the patriots, upholding our Constitution, saying no to an aggressive law that is illegal under the UN Charter and illegal under the US Constitution. Here we are, unfortunately, 5 years later, with almost 4,000 of our soldiers killed, over 1 million Iraqis killed, a cost to our taxpayers that's of staggering proportions, a cost to the good name of the United States around the world that's of staggering proportions, and a war that is continuing despite the fact that the majority of the American people want to see an end to this war. So we are here today to say that as patriots, we uphold the Constitution, we love our Constitution, and we want our government to respect our Constitution. That means an end to this war in Iraq and bringing our troops home now. We want that message to also go to the presidential candidates. We're not saying bring the troops home 18 months from now. We're not saying bring the troops home 12 months from the time they get elected. We're saying we want the troops to come home now.
All of them.
We're also saying we want all the troops to come home. That means combat troops. That means trainers. That means those that are there to protect U.S. personnel. We want U.S. personnel to be protected by people that are in charge of the State Department and not through the military. And we want the over 100,000 contractors in Iraq to leave Iraq, and we want our tax dollars going to repair the damage we have done to Iraq by allowing the Iraqi people to repair that damage and not contractors who have been profiteering from this war.
Yeah.
We're also here to say that we are heartbroken by the violations of our Constitution with respect to the writ of habeas corpus, that it says right here shall not be suspended, by the lack of due process, by the spying on Americans without judicial authority, and by the countless ways that the U.S. has violated due process since the invasion of Iraq, including the continual holding of people in Guantanamo with absolutely no due process. It's now been over 5 years, and we still have hundreds of people who have not been charged, who have not had access to the courts, who have not had any semblance of anything representing due process or fair trials. And that's why last year Code Pink went to Guantanamo to stand in front of those gates to say we support and we defend and we love our Constitution, and that's why we believe in due process. That's why we believe in fair trials for all. That's why we believe in habeas corpus that was enshrined in the Magna Carta back in 1215 and should certainly be respected today if we're going to call ourselves a civilized nation. And finally, I want to say that as we're gathered here today, the Bush administration is trying to entrench us in a long-term occupation of Iraq that would go beyond what the next president could do, trying to, despite the fact that Congress has several times voted overwhelmingly to say no permanent bases, the Bush administration is calling on the military to establish permanent bases and is calling on the Iraqi government to make a treaty with the United States that would call for a lasting U.S. military presence, not allowing Congress to take that decision. The U.S. government is also pressuring the Iraqi government to pass an oil law that would give access to the vast oil wealth of Iraq to U.S. corporations for decades and decades to come. And we are here to say the Iraqi oil belongs to the Iraqi people.
Yes.
That the Bush administration has no right to try to force the Iraqi government to pass an oil law that would give our corporations the right to their oil. That we want to say that we are and want to be a country that is ruled by this document. That we love our Constitution. We do not want to be a country that is ruled by a king. We do not want to be a country that is ruled by oil corporations or by contractors who profit from people's suffering and agony. That George Bush is acting like King George back in 1776, and that's why we had a revolution. That's why people rose up and said no to King George. And that's why we're here today to say that the Founding Fathers put into our Constitution articles of impeachment to say that if leaders of this country violated this document that we hold dear, that we would, through articles of impeachment, be able to hold those leaders accountable. And so I finally want to say that we not only hold the Bush administration accountable for violations of the Constitution, but we also hold our Congress accountable for violating the Constitution by not beginning the hearings on impeachment of George Bush and Dick Cheney and those responsible for this disastrous war. Today is our day to reclaim our Constitution, a document we love, we hold dear, and a document that proves that we are indeed the true patriots.
Then why act like you care about the troops in Iraq? Cause if you did, you would let them fly back. It's cause of you them planes got hijacked. You also the reason Katrina victims had to die like that. They say you was hesitant, we say you was negligent. It's about time for niggas to impeach the president. Hey. Yeah. Dear president.